Before we dive into the session, allow me to introduce our distinguished speaker whose expertise spans the realm of research methodology and innovation. Professor MP Singh sir, Professor and Head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Patna, is a renowned scholar. He will be shedding light on how to write an effective research paper. As we delve into today's session, I encourage you all to actively engage with our speakers. Remember, learning is a journey, and we are fortunate to have these experts as our guides.
We have to understand that our communication and the writing the technical content, it's a completely different. You might be very good in communication. In fact, both are equally important, but importance in their own place. So writing the technical content, we have to first understand what should write and which portion of that paper we should write. So typically, for any technical research paper or any technical report, we have to understand that we need to provide the title of that report or research paper. Here you might be thinking, what is there into thinking about the title? I will tell you in due course of time. Then the abstract, then introduction, theory and analysis, experimental procedure, result and discussion, conclusion, acknowledgement, references, appendix. These are the some key points that I have listed here. You must check the spelling. You must check the grammar. I will tell you in grammar what should be taken care. Minimum use of acronyms. If it is required, then in technical writing, the first define the full form and then you start using the acronyms. All the equations, tables and figure must be having the proper number. All the tables and figures must have the captions. Captions means in case of the table, if you have observed, it is always written at the top of the table. Whereas in case of figures, we write the caption always at the end of the figure. Okay. Now, as much as possible, you avoid the footnotes. So here that we have to understand, while we know that our thought we can express either in present tense or past tense and the future tense, the active voice and the passive voice. But while writing paper, always use the third person. Third person, I mean to say, you have to emphasize your work, not the person who has done the research. So those who are writing in paper, I done this, I have done this, we have collected this data, these words should be avoided in the technical research paper. So instead of using the I or we, you can use something like this paper, this technical report, this section. These are the terms that we prefer to write in technical writing. So, but while doing the communication, you can use any form of the tense, there is no problem. But why it is important? Because it makes easier for the reader to understand your paper. It is very much important to communicate your thought to the research community. And how do we communicate our research thought to the community? It's only one way is your technical writing. Yourself, you cannot present yourself physically everywhere to every audience. So this is the ultimate way to communicate your thought, to express your thought before the research community is the technical report writing. So if your writing is not good, your work will not be recognized in the research community. So the writing is very much important. And that's why today's topic that I choose to discuss in front of you is the effective writing of technical paper. So this is always, let's say, if you are try to understand with the help of the example, the clean the gallium arsenide substrate by boiling them in trichloroethane. Second one is writing the same thing, same thought, the same idea. Second person may write, I clean the gallium so and so. But instead of writing the first two, which is actually not recommended in technical writing, what is acceptable is the gallium arsenide substrate were cleaned by boiling in trichloroethane. So this could be much more better than the previous two. Now, there are some places where, in fact, many of you might be using some tool where you will write your statements, and that writing tool, the software will rephrase your statements, which may be the much better than what you have. But again, these all are based on some AI concept. You should not rely on the Google translator or the writing tools to write your paper, because the thought behind your research work is not known to your writing tool. It's you know better. So who can write the better things? The you only. So don't rely on anyone, on any tool, on any that tools you might be using to get the confirmation if you are not actually happy with your writing. So sometimes it may help you, but for to express your idea, your tool may not be helpful at all. So I suggest you to some of the content that you may go through to understand the grammar and the style. So one of them is the science of scientific writing, and the another paper that you can read, critical reading towards critical writing. Now, this is a very much important slides for all of you. If you look at the paper on abstract level, the very first thing that we look at that introduction, and the last of the paper is what? The discussion, except the abstract and conclusion. So in introduction, I have seen the many papers. While reading the introduction section itself, I lose the interest. And at the end of the day, we decided I will not go through the paper. You know why? Just because of that paper could not allow us to read the paper, content the paper properly, because it was written very bad. So what is the better way of writing the paper? So in introduction, what we do, we start with some general concept regarding your research work, and slowly we turn down to the particular point of your research paper. So that is what the introduction. For example, I can give you the one example. Let's say you have done some work in wireless sensor network, particularly to maybe the routing algorithm in. So we should not start writing directly about the routing protocol of the WSN. You start with the WSN, some one or two statements in general, and slowly you write the statements which will be filling or which will be making you feel that requirement of your the routing algorithm. And at the end of the introduction, you can throw the idea why this paper is important. Finally, in the middle of the paper, you will be actually defining your problem and the proposed solution along with the result analysis, implementation and all. So that is what the procedure. And while discussing, again we have to think of, we have to start from the particular and again come back to the general statement. So this is the actual framework of writing the papers. Now, the question comes is, what is a research paper? So many a times, the many people, I remember one or two students, I asked suddenly that, what do you mean by the research? He answered politely, the things which we have, somebody has done already, we are again researching. I said, okay. But my dear, the research means you look at your interest, whatever the domain you have selected. In that domain, you find out the state of art work, because until unless you will go through some state of art work, you will not know that what is the current status of your thought. For example, you have thought of, let's say, the problem routing algorithm, but in that routing algorithm, you should provide some new solution to that. So until unless you know that what is this world or research community has already done on the problem X, you cannot give the solution, the new solution. So once you are providing the new solution, then you have done some ethical research in that problem. So we need to think of that way. So, and this thought itself will not allow you to take the content or take the idea from the other papers. What happens is, many researchers or many students, let me call, they thought of some problem and intentionally or unintentionally they borrow the idea from some papers. It's not bad to borrow the idea, but don't produce that idea in your paper. You work around that. You do some critical analysis of the existing idea. And if you found some gap in that solution, then work on that particular research gap. So might be, it may not be the very new from the scratch pad, but it will be like you have contributed to the existing solution. That is also acceptable. So in that, if you'll think of, it will never allow you to reproduce the idea or content of the existing paper, which later on I will talk about the plagiarism. Now, the research, writing a research paper does not depend on in which area you are working. So no matter what field of study you are interested in, but only thing is what? The ethics behind writing a paper. The very first thing is you you should read the paper, but at the same time you should not reproduce the paper as if that it's your work, right? So but if those who are interested in writing the paper, in fact, everybody has felt that at the first step while writing the very first paper, almost all of us might be scary in that, because we do not know. It's not that we are studying the some courses, and in that course we are writing the some our exams. In that we have already confidence, but it is that new idea, new content that you have to write. So whenever it comes across writing the new content, new idea, it's always scary. So what is the solution? The solution is you must give the enough time, the sincere effort, and then organize your paper, and then things will be more easy to write the research paper. Okay, here with this figure we can understand your mind will always come with the some topic. If you'll ask to any students what is your interest area, then he will say that some bigger domain like networking or economics or compiler design. But further you dig, then you will ask the question in the, let's say in the networking. In the networking, what is that your interest further? Or the database. In fact, any domain. So the idea is to find out the interest of the student. And finally, if we'll slowly ask the some series of the questions, you will able to find out the his her interest, because many a times students may not be able to understand the his her own interest. So it's our job to have the some series of the questions, and then based on that you might be able to understand his her interest. So certainly at the end of the day you will come with the some topic. So in that topic you have to do the some research. As I told you, straight away you cannot start the research, because in that topic, until unless you go through the series of 10 or 20 different state of art, I will tell you the meaning of the state of art work. I am not just saying the word. A state of art work has a very good meaning, and we should always emphasis on the state of art work to do the good research. After doing that research, now it's a time to write your paper. Writing the paper in one goal is very difficult. For writing the thesis, if you ask your student now start write the thesis either for the BTech or MTech or PhD, BTech students may turn after maybe the 1 week, and then MTech students hardly they will take the 1 month. The research students they may take the 2 to 3 months. But my dear, the moment they come with the report within 1 week or 1 month, it is 100% sure that either report is not written completely, or it is written but badly written, because no proper thought has been given, no proper revision has been done. They have just started writing, or probably they have got the content from here and there. Then only the writing the report or thesis in 1 week or 1 month or 3 months is sufficient. Okay, so the very first thing is what? You start thinking of your topic. In that topic, you try to define the research problem. Once you have find out, but finding the research problem itself a very big task. Many people said that once you know that what is the problem that you are going to solve, is the 50% of the research work is done. Because finding the problem, it's until unless you are extraordinary intelligent or you are associated with the some very good or big group, research group, where the many research problems are already on the floor, and once you will join to that group, that group will assign the some problem to you. Otherwise, for us, finding the research problem itself may be a big issue. So the system may ask you to go through the many papers and then find out the research gap. From the research gap, you do the critical analysis, and finally you will be able to find out the some research problem. Many a case, for the to solve your research problems, you might be requiring the set of data. And once you are, especially in computer science, this is my one of the research domain that where I work, the machine learning. Many of you might have gone through this word here and there. So the machine learning always comes with the requirement of the data. So the moment we think of the some problem, the very next step that we think of the data. And once the data that you have, in the format and the form that you have received, you cannot use it. It has to be normalized as per your requirement. And finally, you will do the implementation, the result analysis and discussion, and then you start writing the paper. Okay. Now, the very first, here I am avoiding the one term, the abstract. If you look at any research paper, the very first part of that is the abstract. You just fold that abstract. We will discuss why I am not discussing right now. I have started with the introduction. So in the introduction section, as I told you, you start with the general statements, the general background of the topic. Then you be specific to that your research paper. Then experiment you do, and finally result and discussion. In this, if it is possible, then you avoid using the excessive presentation of the data. I can explain you this, what is the excessive presentation of the data or result. Let's say you have done some experiment, and naturally out of that experiment you have the output data. Output data can be represented either in terms of maybe in the form of the table, or maybe in the form of the graph, the different form of the graph. So my question is, the same data, if you are representing or you are presenting in the form of the table, so discuss the table. But many people, they will put the data, output data in the table, the corresponding graph, maybe the different form of the same data in the different format. It's excessive representation. And the reader will not like this analysis part. So try to avoid the excessive presentation of your data. And citing the every argument with the published. what happens is citation is very much important. But in the one work, let's say you are writing the one paragraph, in that paragraph, 5-6 lines are there. In the 5-6 line, the first line that you have given the reference, and somewhere in between also you are giving the reference of the same. No need. Once you have referenced one place, it's sufficient. Okay. So the state of art is what I was telling you. Here I can, in fact, I cannot advise. I can only request all of you, since all of you are doing some research, avoid using the research paper which does not have any meaning, any value in the research community. In our research community, if in engineering side, if you'll go, we have the very good publisher like IEEE, ACM, Springer. In case of mechanical, we have American Society of Mechanical Engineering. In case of civil engineering, we have American Society of the Civil Engineering. So in that way, these all are the Q1 journals. They produce the Q1 journals. The quality of these journals are very high. So if you want to do really very good research, please refer to the Q1 journals only. Sometimes you may refer to the Q2 journal. It's not bad, but you will see the many journals like International Journal of Management and Technology. What is this? Somebody is floating these journals just for the sake of the money and all. Some journals I have seen like International Journal of Civil Engineering, International Journal of Civil Technology, International Journal of Civil Engineering and Technology. And in that, if you will read the paper, you might have observed that there is no actual content, there is no actual research in that paper. So reading that paper may misguide you. They may not allow you to understand the actual problem and the solution. So the state of art meaning is, it's always referred the current paper from the good journals. Okay. If you want to work on some particular topic and you are reading a paper, let's say of the 2000 in today's 2023. So think of from the 2000 to 2023, the many extension of that problem and the solution has already come. So you are missing that. So probably after reading that paper which was published in 2000, you have defined the problem and you have given the solution. That solution might be the subset of the solution which was given between the 2000 2023. So this is the kind of, you have not done any, it's an unintentional copying. It becomes like a plagiarism. You have not done any mistake. But just because of you have not gone through the state of art work, this problem may arise later on. So what is the better thing is? The best thing is you please refer the paper from the Q1 or the good quality journals of your domain. Don't ever think of using the third class journals. Please. Third class journal, reading it for the reference or the bibliography, it does not give any solution to you. And if you have, let's say, for your career point of view also, I can tell you, if you have, let's say, the 20 papers in the very low grade journals, and going somewhere to represent yourself, your contribution to the research community, maybe an interview board or for getting any grant from any agency. So looking at the 20 paper, you are happy that you have the 20 research paper. But the board or the evaluator will look at your quality work, and they will not give you either grant or they will not select for the any position. Please believe me, if you have the one or two paper in the Q1 journals, the boards will accept. You might be getting a chance either to get a grant or to get a position. So that if you want to publish a paper in very good journal, so the seed of that has to be very good of in quality. So from where I will get the very good quality? From the state of art work only. So the very first thing is the state of art work. You think of the latest advancement in that topic. So naturally, you have to look at the recent year only, and from the good quality journals. Now, in conclusion, I will tell you one point. In conclusion, there are some researchers, they conclude the paper in general. But conclusion, think of this is the last time that one researcher has to focus its own contribution. I can give you another example. If you are doing the survey work, what is that you read very first? You might be reading the two sections at the very first because you don't want to waste your time. Time is very fast now. The community is very fast now. So you will just try to look at whether this paper is suitable for my topic or not. So you might be reading the only two sections. The first is abstract and last is the conclusion. From these, once these two are suitable or related with your topic, then you will read the complete paper. So from this also we can understand the importance of the conclusion. The conclusion, the community says that this is the last step where again you have the last chance to showcase your work. So if we'll think about this, that this is my last chance to showcase my problem and its solution, then you will be writing conclusion very well. Otherwise, you will lose because writing a paper itself is a time consuming process. So you might be losing that interest or thinking of that now I have to everything I have written. Those who are interested in my paper, they will read that my solution and they will accept my paper. It's not that. I will give you the one more point here. So that while writing the conclusion, again thing is what? You start from the particle and end with the general. And in that your result of your solution must be emphasized in that conclusion. Now, while searching the paper on any search engine by using, let's say, the Google, everybody is using the now Google search engine. So while searching, you will see that many publishers, they don't allow you to read the paper of free of cost. The many, until unless you are the member of that particular journal or the particular publisher, you may not be able to access the full paper of any good journal. I am talking about the good journal. I will tell you something more about this. The journal has also categorized in the two different category. One is the open category. Open category means you will be able to see the full paper. In that case, the publisher asks the money. And here asking the money is not for the publishing the paper. No. It is that you want that your papers be freely available to all the readers. That from the economic point of view, the good publishers also ask for some fund. so that you can make your paper open. Okay. So anyway, so you will just see that while searching the paper, that publishers will allow you to read the only abstract. Now you, with this also you can understand the importance. It, you cannot download the paper, and thousands papers you have on the particular topic. Naturally, you cannot download or you cannot make the payment for downloading the papers. So what you can do, that the journals allow you to go through the abstract free of cost. Now think of yourself. If you have not written the abstract very well, nobody is going to read the paper. And if nobody is going to read the paper means what? The any of the research committee or the researchers. So getting the citation itself is kind of the award of that paper. Nobody is going to pay the any money to you for your research work. But for your research work, if somebody is citing, then you will get the enlightenment out of that. So the citation is, it's like a one award that we researchers used to get. So who will cite the paper? Who will pay the money for your paper? You may not be getting that, because you will be giving the copyright to your publisher. So publisher will be getting the money out of it. But you will get the citation, and only if your abstract is written very well. So with this also you can understand what is the importance of writing the good paper, good technical paper. Okay. Now, acknowledgement. Please don't miss off this section. If you have got any fund, research fund, and from that research fund, if you are doing some work, so it's your job, it's your responsibility to do the acknowledgement in the paper for that agency, for that means the funding agency, any colleague, any scientist, any organization to whom you have taken some help while doing the research paper. It's a very good practice. And lastly, the references. So very much important. In the references, I will tell you again here, the least important attentions the researcher used to give, but it is very much important. You have to cite the proper reference. At the same time, you need to, it's your responsibility to give the complete description of that particular paper. Complete description, I mean to say, you start with the name of the authors, then title of the paper, then the name of the journal, the page number, volume number, name, publishers, year, publication years, and so on. And at the end, DOI, the reference, the direct reference where any people can refer the paper. So this is the complete description of any research paper. But if you look at, some of you might be doing also, I am not getting all the information. So I give the author name, paper name, and where it is being published. Page number, what is the importance of that, the page number? Why should I give the volume number? So you might be missing the page number, volume number, journal number. This all important information you might be missing, but this is not the good thing as a researcher. Now, think of the good title. Now think of what I was telling you, why it is important to emphasis about the good title. Reason is, your title should be very precise, and it should reflect the problem of your paper and at the same time the solution of your paper. Some of the examples that I have listed here. The one You may think of giving the title like a software, another title a theorem and its proof, another title wireless network, one more title, it is more verbose. So what I mean to say, the title should not be more verbose. It should not be having the many words. So read it. It's a partial redundancy elimination in presence of critical edges for practical imperative program with recursion and large number of functions and calls through the function pointers. Very big title. This is also not good. So what could be the possible good title for the, let's say, the very first example, a software. So a software based control system for something, right? Now next title that you are writing, a theorem and its proof. Instead of writing this, you can write a theorem and its proof on XYZ theorem. Third one, wireless network. Instead of this, you can think of, based on your work, reducing congestion in wireless networks. Could be the one title. The last one where you have the many words, you can think of writing the same thing, the partial redundancy elimination in extreme situation. Okay, so these are the, so it is, as I told you, the title should be very good, because from the title you will decide about the some key terms, and as an end user we all will be searching based on the some key terms. So your paper will be reflecting in much better way on your search engine. Then the possibility it will have the more probability to be cited by the researchers. Okay. So as it is written, your title should invite the reader to read your paper. It should be informative and interesting. Okay. As I told you that the title itself, it should be very useful for potential users or readers searching. In title, you don't try to use the abbreviation until unless it is very much compulsory to use the abbreviation. In abbreviation, don't use any. In title, don't use the abbreviation. So the next is the abstract. Abstract is like a mini paper or executive summary. It is pretty much, you all must have gone through the many paper and you have seen that the abstract. In that abstract, they are writing the two general statements. Don't write this. Then you might be thinking of, they are written the some one or two line about your proposed solution. But writing about your solution itself is not sufficient. In abstract, must include that your achievement. Your achievement means that result that you have got out of your solution. And this result, you have to show that this result has outperformed compared to the state of art work. Then only researcher will read your paper as a state of art paper for them. Okay. So your topic, it should be unique, it should be interesting, it should be relevant. Okay. So in abstract, you have the main point of the motivation, the problem statement, the very brief or the very abstract about your problem statements, that your solution, result, and then you can say that you have written a very good abstract. Okay. The common mistake while writing the abstract we do is, it's too verbose, too long, too short, omitting essential details. Omitting essential details means you have written that you have proposed a solution. You might be writing the one or two lines, but you have not emphasizing that your achievement out of your implementation, out of your experiment, that has outperformed compared to the state of art work. So this is all about your the different points that you need to take care while writing the abstract. So Now the question is, when to write your abstract? Again, it is very much important. Well, because we know that the very first part of your paper is abstract, you will start writing the abstract. No, please don't do that. You write your complete paper so that you will be able to concisely represent your problem, your solution, your achievement in brief, in abstract portion. And at the same time, don't provide the title of the paper at the beginning. You do your all the complete research writing, and then finally, because while writing the title, it will all reflect in your mind. You know that what are the things I have written in the detailing throughout the paper. So from the throughout the paper, it concisely you will be able to represent the very interesting title for your paper. Now, in introduction, please try to understand that introduction section is what I am not introducing the research domain. I am introducing my research work. So if you differentiate this, you will able to understand that what are the things that I am going to write in that. So let's say one field, the multi-threading. So what is that? First you describe your field. If you are working on the, let's say, the multi-threading, so something right about the multi-threading and the importance of the multi-threading. Then explain the why your problem matters. Okay, because until unless you introduce, you will somehow you have to make other to understand that why this problem is important. Okay, so that you have to write in the section of the introduction. Then summarize your prior researches. Okay, then propose your solution. Now, after doing this, you have to think of in the introduction one point. Now almost out of I can say the 50% people are the researchers are not giving the emphasis on that is the contribution of your work. So that has to be the part of your introduction, where you are also introducing that what is my contribution, because until unless you will able to show that your contribution which is new or novel, the reviewer or the researchers or research community will not read your paper, or your paper may not be having the good chance of getting the published. Okay, so these things that we have to think about writing the introduction. And the very last paragraph, the introduction should be organization of your paper. Organization, I mean to say in which section what you are trying to explain. Okay, so this is what about the introduction section. After introduction, the next part that we have to think of your background and the related work. Many a times you might be avoiding the background. Here you may have some flexibility. Some background information you can include the general section of the introduction, means at the beginning of the introduction. But sometimes what happens is the introduction, it has to be also, once again, it is because I want to introduce my paper. So you can debate like that, why should I keep the complete detailed information about background? Let's say that you are working on some solution which has used one problem, maybe like some fuzzy system. And in that fuzzy system, membership functions that you want to use. So that membership function, if the page limit is not a problem, then you want to focus on that membership in detail. So you can include those things in the paper in detail. And if there is a constraint, then you can write the only one line that my solution uses this membership function. That's all. And if the page is, especially in case of while writing the thesis, you don't have any limitation on the page, where the thesis is like one book. if you are writing that this thesis uses the maybe this particular membership function, and you are giving the some reference. So what you are ultimately asking the someone, you go through this particular reference, fetch the paper or fetch the book, read that, and then you think of reading this my thesis. Whereas the thesis is like a one book, you don't try to give the all the information as a reference. The things that you can represent in your thesis pretty well, you do it. So that's why it's a the second portion. It could be background or related work. Now, in related work also there is a some mismatching about writing. As I was telling you, uh, take the one example, the routing protocol, or in machine learning you have the different types of the learning, and you are here to work on, let's say, the supervised learning. In supervised learning, you might be having the 100 different works. Out of those, let's say you have read 30 papers. Now, one approach is what? One paragraph, you write the one paragraph for each paper you are writing. This you can do, but this is not a good organization of your second section related work. Then what is a good organization? Out of 30 papers, you try to categorize these 30 papers into particular category. And in the first section, you write that the whole paper has been categorized in A, B, C. And category wise, you try to write the paper. Now, this will increase the interest of the reader to read your paper. And after each category, it is a related work does not mean that you are here to rephrase the other's idea. It's not that. Please mind it. You have to you have to give your own critical comment after each category. And this critical comment itself will allow you to find out the research gap in your problem domain. And this out of this research gap, it will allow you to define your problem and ultimately the solution that you are going to propose. So the related work is very much important. And after writing the one paragraph for each work, you try to summarize in the tabular format. Tabular format, you can think of the different way. One way that I can discuss with you, the very first column you can think of the reference, maybe the author name or the reference number, along with the year of publication. So it is very much important. You want to show that reader or the others, those who will read your paper or will understand your paper, they will be enlightened that, okay, this paper has a good collection of the references of the latest work. So state of art work. If you are claiming that my paper is referring to the state of art work, or my implementation result is being compared with the state of art work, so this becomes the reference of your statements. They're your comparative table. So the second column, you can think of that problem. Third column, you may think of that the model or the proposed solution is being used in that paper. Then merit demerits. Merit demerits, it's your comment. You have find out what is the merit of the paper and what is the demerit of the paper. Many researchers stops here itself. But if you want to get some more enlightenment into that or more information out of that, the last column should be added regarding the result of that paper. So based on the performance parameter, whatever the result they have achieved, you mention in that. Now think of, now you have proposed the solution and you got the some result. And now you have to compare your result with the state of art. So already you know that what are the results they have already got. Let's say I'm saying the accuracy of that particular work, someone has claimed the 99%, and now your work has got 99.2. So it is very easy for the evaluator, for the reviewer, for the reader to understand your contribution. Okay. So in related work, always try to produce all the work in the form of the comparative chart. Okay. Now, uh, yes, one more typical problem that we have, uh, being we Indian, our mother tongue is not English. So many times we find the difficulty in writing the statements. Many, it's nothing to cite. It's a fact. Then what happens is, while writing the statements, we many a times we used to write the very large statements of 3 lines. But it has been observed that while reading the very long statements, our mind lose the interest, or might be that may not be understand the statements. So it is always better to write the short sentences, clear, concise. Okay. Now try to see the sum of that things that it has been taken from the some paper. The statement, you why it is important. Someone is writing. We connected the citrus machine. Another example. The other widely used configuration of the DC commutator machine is the series field motor. This can be written in much better way. The one more, the power rating, just read this. The power rating was doubled by about a factor of 2.5. It's not the joke. People are doing this. And once you will write your first draft of your paper, and while doing the second revision, you will also see the such statements. It happens. It's natural. You see the another statement from the result section. We see that transformer was rated at approximately 20 kilohertz from 10 kilohertz to 2 megahertz, and the results were consistent. Can you understand this statement? Only the people has written, they can they don't know, they know that what I am going to write. So they are thinking something else, writing something else, which becomes very difficult task for the reader, for the user. Okay. And we too also do the same thing. That's why writing a paper is a time consuming process. The first draft, if you read the second time, you itself will be correcting your paper. Oh, what I have written here. Okay. See this. The another, a sketch of setup of the both tests depicting relative position and the connection is, see this, the use of the grammar and the abbreviation featured in showing the relative poses, featuring the relative setup of the test is featured in the following section. If you can understand, please make me also understand this. I cannot understand the such a statement. So what is that? It's very much important to understand the statement. So while writing the big statement, it's a very much pretty good chance that we will be writing the illogical content. So short statement where you will have the full concentration, which will be very crystal clear. Now, between the paragraph, we say that the flow between the paragraphs should not be loose. Otherwise, what happens is, from one paragraph, it likes that we have suddenly jumped to the another paragraph. So there should be the relation between the paragraph, section to section, paragraph to paragraph, a statement to a statement, which will allow the user to read the paper completely. Now, for example, in the first paragraph, which discuss the extent of the deforestation in the Amazon over the past decade, and the second paragraph is going to explain how that affect the animal extinction. So the state shift in focus in writing something like what we can write. The one statement will make the connection between the two paragraphs. The deforestation of the Amazon over the last decade has resulted in a drastic reduction of natural habitats for many species. After that, you write the next paragraph, which will basically explain that effect on the animal. Okay, so this is maintaining the flow between the paragraph. These are the how to do the good research. For that, I told you whatever your interest domain is, please read the good paper, good cited paper, the papers from the Q1 journals. Try to understand there, and reading the paper itself is the one art. If I ask you to read the one good journal, Q1 journal in one day, and somebody is saying, I have understood this paper, it is not at all possible. Someone has worked the 6 months, and those who have worked in 6 months, and you are saying, I could understand the paper in one day, it's very rare until unless you are extraordinary intelligent. Okay, so that is the that means you have to be honest with your attitude, your work. Okay, now theory and analysis means the your what is the your solution, and that solution, while discussing the result, you have to provide the one paragraph about the experimental setup. What is that? Because if you are changing the experimental setup, your result may change. So it is very much important to mention the one paragraph, maybe 2-3 lines about the your experimental setup. In case of computer science, we declare about what is the workstation, what was the configuration, what was the speed of the processor, and the things that is directly reflecting on that result, we have to write on that paper. Then only you start the explaining your result. Okay, I have already told you about the figures and table, how to show the figures, how to show the tables. Here I would like to say, in figure, let's say you are writing figure in capital. All the character is you have written in capital. Figure 1, colon, let's say the framework of multi-threading. Now while referencing this figure, you are using in the writing statements, you are using F5G dot 1. You are referring that figure. But here I would like to say this is again not the correct way of referencing the any figure or table. You have to write exactly the caption that you have written there. If you are writing in the figure the FIGUR, then in text also you have to write the FIG, because it is like a noun. And noun you cannot abbreviate. The figure you cannot write a fig. So exactly you have to make it is the case sensitive as well. So the good technical writing says that you have to exactly use the same thing because it is like a noun. So the noun is what you understand. The same thing has to be written, same thing has to reference in the text as well. Okay. So these are the some different figures that you want to show. What is the importance here to show this figure? On each edges, you have to give the some notations or the some information about that movement of the data or the meaning of that edge, meaning of that the circle. This all has to be very much clear from the figure itself. Okay. This is the another figure that where it is being shown the data flow between the different nodes. This is the another figure Just I wanted to show that the figure should not, it should be complete in nature. Everything you can understand from the figure. Here, while showing the result as a graph, so again, all the axis has to be given some name. Data points has to be explained clearly. About the x and y axis, scaling has to be very much clear. Any line or curve which is the part of the your graph should be clearly mentioned in the figure. Okay, look at the table. Okay, so this is just to show that every part of the figure must have the some good nomenclature. Now, about the discussion, many paper I have seen, they have just given the information about the implementation and just they have shown the result. And you are saying that the efficiency of the proposed work is 98%. And you are happy with that. But being a reader, I am not at all happy. What is great if you are saying that the efficiency is 98%? Then how can you prove that your result that you have got is correct? So it has to be proper discussed in the section just after the result. Until unless you are discussing the result, nobody is going to believe that you have got the your, because during the discussion it will reflect that actually you have done an implementation. Actually you are showing the facts. You are not manipulating the result. It comes from the discussion. And the last one is the comparison. Until unless you compare with the other works, you know, some of you might have gone through this process. The many good journals, especially the Q1 journals, if you submit your paper, they will ask you to submit the complete implementation code. So the reviewer, if they find the some thesis in that your paper, they will execute the your implementation code. They will go through the your code just to see that whether the result which is being claimed in your paper, it is actually correct one. Okay, so the discussion section, it increase the sale value of your paper. Okay, so these are the things that we have to understand about writing the your paper. So the first draft is not sufficient. After the first draft, you need to understand that you have to go through the, just because of you have seen that many statements in the while writing first time, you might have written the some a statement which is not at all clear as a grammatical point of view or as a understanding point of view. You might have done the some mistakes in the spelling mistake and all. This will always comes in the second reading or the second review or third review itself. Okay, so this is how we complete the our paper. Now last one is what? The references. Here two terms. One is the bibliography, another is the reference. There is a thin line difference between these two. References means the work you have actually referred in your work, the existing work or related work which has already been used in your work, directly or indirectly. This is the reference. Bibliography means while doing the survey work, you have read the many paper, but those paper is not reflecting, is not being accessed in my work. So that you keep in your bibliography. Okay. So this is what the things. Now, three things that you need to take care. You should ask the three questions from yourself. Is this really worth saying? Does this say that I want to say to, I want it to say, Will reader understand what I am saying? I told you that while writing, you might be writing the doing the some grammatical mistake, or you have written a very long statement, thinking something else, writing something else. So if you'll go through these questions, then you will correct your statement, which will this is the part of your the proofreading of your paper. Okay, so for the proofreading, you must be using the sum of the tools for the spell checking or the grammatical checks and all. Okay, so this is about the your now. Once you have written a paper, now the question is where to submit the paper, in which journal I have to submit. So for information, I would like to share here is almost all the publishers, IEEE, ACM, Springer, Nature, they all have the, if you go to their homepage, you will find the journal finder. You click the journal finder, they will ask that you provide me the abstract, provide me the keywords, and based on that, they will suggest you the list of journal where your work will be more suitable to be submitted. So this is how we can think of submitting the paper in proper journal, because if you will not submit to the proper journal, you might be getting a rejection saying that your paper is not fulfilling the our criteria or out of the research domain of this research journal. Okay, so this is unnecessary. It will waste the 1 month, 2 month time. So it is always better to use the journal finder. Through the journal finder, it will suggest you the many journals, and then you can submit your paper. Okay, so now I will talk something about the plagiarism. This I have taken from the some citation I have already listed below. Now, the plagiarism is presenting the words, idea, image, sound, creative expression of others, saying that it's your own. This is what the plagiarism. Now, this word, if you understand this word, then you will understand what is the plagiarism. This is basically a Latin word. The meaning is kidnapper. So the plagiarism has been kept as an academic crime. And just because of a plagiarism, you might be losing your job. Students might be many places, many university, even after they have awarded the degree, they revoke their degree. If in future it finds out that some plagiarism. So it is actually a crime. So see that meaning. This is the Latin term and the meaning is kidnapper. The one data I have collected for you, the study of 4,500 students at 25 schools. Look at this. 72% admitted to serious cheating on written assignment using the internet. I told you, no, if you give the assignment, the most of the students will take it from the some source of the internet. Okay, so this is what the worldwide truth. The two different types of, either you belong to, you have done the intentionally or unintentionally, the severity or casualty of this plagiarism is same. Once the plagiarism is being caught, then see the excuses. This assignment was boring. It's okay if I do not get caught. I was too busy to write that paper. My teacher expects too much. I have got to get into certain college. Everyone does it. You might be thinking this way. Some of the clauses you can, some of the excuses you can think of. Or you might be thinking, my parents expects always A. So consequences are not worth risk. The only right to give the credit to the authors whose idea you use. So very simple. If you have taken the idea or rephrasing also, it does not mean that it's your word. You should not take the statements in verbatim, means as it is, you should not take. So you write their idea in your own words and give the reference. Giving the reference is means you are honest with the other words. You are giving the due credit to the other words. And this is not plagiarism. Now, sometimes you think of that the statement of the other papers, there is no need to change. I want exactly in verbatim way. I don't want to change anything in that statement. Then you write in double quote with the reference. You can take as it is, but in the double quote. In double quote with the reference you will give, it is not cheating, it is not a plagiarism. So that is what I was saying. How to avoid plagiarism? Quote, cite the phrase, quote, cite the statistics, charts, graph, whatever, chart, graph, table, figure, whatever you are taking from the any sources, even from the internet, you please give the references of that URL. Okay. Now, the question you may think of, do I have to cite everything? Yes. Whatever you are taking for the safe side, you give the reference for everything. Another questions you might be thinking, if I change a few words, I am still okay? No, completely wrong. Paraphrasing original idea without documenting your source is plagiarism too. So the paraphrasing will not help you. You have to cite the paper. You can borrow from the works of the others in your work, but be careful how, by citing the work, by giving the due recognition of the other works. So the three things from which you can be out of the plagiarism episode. One is quoting, another is paraphrasing, and the summarizing. Okay. So quoting is what? Quoting is exact words you are taking from the other sources. Okay. So it's a verbatim. So in case of verbatim, in the double quote, you can write in your paper with the reference. Paraphrasing, you understand the meaning of. So with the paraphrasing also, you give the reference. Okay. So this is what quote or paraphrase. Include the page number, source reference, so you can go back. Now, many times what happens is, while writing the paper or while doing the work, you have referenced the many idea, you have referenced the many work, you have forgotten. So it is always better to note down the which idea I have taken from the which resource, which source. You note down so that while writing your paper, your research paper, you refer that your note and please cite all the references carefully. Here, cut paste from any sources. Please don't do. Use another work as your own. Please do not do this. Just change a few words. I will share the one very interesting plagiarism case. Please don't do it in your life. One student has taken the paper from the somewhere, some sources, and in that he has embedded the one dot after every between the two words. Between every two words, he has put the dot, and the color of the dot was changed to the white font. So now, if you give that paper to the some plagiarism software, it will not find out the any plagiarism content into that paper. So while naked eye, if you look at, you will see that because the dot is in the white font color, so you are not able to see. and you will see that the paper is written because someone has already given the some time and written very good way. So you might be happy. So again, the many journals, the good journals, they ask for the paper that you have written. They don't ask for the PDF file. They ask for the either editable file, either in the latex or the Word file. They don't ask the PDF file. So that by using the editing tool, they all can check the different cheatings across the world. So this is what all about writing the good papers and the plagiarism. For citing the sources, we have many tools, but some of it is being listed here. BibMe, Citation Maker, Citation Machine, NightSite. In nowadays in the MS Word also there is the cross reference. It's inbuilt in our. You have to just download that you can do in the MS Word itself. In LaTeX, it is pretty much very good. Automatically, it does if you use the LaTeX in the Linux or the Windows platform. So need not to be worried about the sequencing of the references. They do it automatically in the LaTeX. So with this, I stop my words. Thank you very much.